So, a week ago, I had a really special guest on, Tamera Cruz, and we were diving so deep into a really great conversation about law of attraction, manifestation, thoughts becoming things. And our conversation was just way too much goodness to give you all at once. So, today's episode is part 2 of Mastering Manifestation, or something like that, with Tamera Cruz. So, get comfortable, take a couple of long, deep cleansing breaths, and get ready to listen to a little more of a great conversation.
And that starts young. It all starts young. But, you know, when you're a kid and you're in elementary school and you see someone who has more than you, and instead of feeling okay and being supported to congratulate that person and be friends with them, we get the other, with their parents spoiled.
Yep.
You know, they're spoiled. You're not spoiled like that. You're this. You get all these things where it's like, oh, so I'm supposed to be humble all the time and not want more.
Right.
Because that's bad. It creates a brat, you know, like, or whatever. And then it plays out into adulthood where you
Right.
literally are growing up with a inherent feeling of lack. And it feels normal. It feels normal. It feels like, it actually feels like, what's the word? Like where you feel like you're the chosen, you know, where you're.
Blessed are the meek.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, blessed are the meek and blessed are the poor. Isn't that what Jesus said?
Absolutely.
Be poor
So I'm doing it right.
and starving.
Absolutely. Mother Teresa.
Right. Mother Teresa.
And just, you know, you have less and you do more. And I'm definitely not saying anything against Mother Teresa, but I'm just saying what comes with that is a lot of people with, you know, what are seeking for smaller minded goals and go lower and be humble. And I know what that feels like. And I still struggle with that, especially attracting finances, attracting certain people. Like, I have a lack mentality in a lot of ways where it's like, do I deserve that? Did I work hard enough for this? Did I earn this? You know, and it's like, I could talk myself out of it. I really can. And I think a lot of people do that. And, you know, we feel like all we're doing is keeping ourselves grounded. And it's really not that. It's really not. So.
It's really not. And, you know, and thank you for speaking on that. Like you said, that it starts young. And, you know, this is no shade to parents because they did their best. You know, you do your best. Yeah. When you know better, you do better. So what I know for sure is that specifically when people often think about manifestation, they do think about like material things. You know, they're like, I want to manifest this thing. I want to manifest a house. I want to manifest a certain amount of money, a car. I want to manifest a certain type of relationship. That they often don't realize that in order for the material thing, whatever it is, to show up, you have to manifest a change within yourself to become a point of attraction for said thing to show up. So when it comes to like attracting money, for instance, someone shared with me, I want to say it was Michael Beckwith, that when you think about manifesting money, you have to think of yourself as a container. And if your container, like, you know, think of like, I don't know, Ziploc bags, for instance, is like a sort of container, something that holds something. If you have like a snack bag and that is your container is the size of a snack bag, I don't even know if actual, you know, more than maybe $50, $100 will fit into a snack size bag. But if your container is the size of those giant Ziplocs that you have to use a vacuum cleaner to seal it, and you can put like a whole blanket inside of it, that's a much larger container to be able to hold your manifesting. So when it comes to manifesting, even money, you have to become a container that can hold it, because the universe will only give what you can contain. The container that you are is essentially that point of attraction that, you know, that whatever it is that you're looking to manifest, specifically if you're thinking about money. And money is one of those things that I think a lot of people are overcoming, relearning, unlearning, you know, getting out of a lack mentality.
That is definitely.
And that's very real.
Because it shows up in so many areas. So it's not like, you know, I don't even know what to compare it to, where there are things that you want to attract and it's like pretty straightforward. I'm doing what I got to do. And I know it's coming, but a lot of people do think about the things that are around them and that they see and think it's a current attraction, you know? And it's like, no. Look, don't use your eyes.
Right.
Use that third eye. Use that spirit. Use that God source is telling you, you're right. You're making good steps. Everything is working out for you still. We do ebbs and flows. You know what I'm saying? Like the contrast is necessary. You got to have the moments where you question it so you know what not to question next time. That kind of makes you feel like, well, then what are we talking about? Let me just go through my contrast. Let me just go through my contrast. Like, okay, leave me alone. We're trying to tell me what I need to do. Okay, I need this contrast, bro.
Don't trip. Right. I'm contrasting right now. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
Don't mind me over here contrasting, girl. I'll be in this for a minute. Don't you worry.
Being aware of that, you know, because what people don't realize is, like you said, you know, I mean, I am not a quantum physicist and will not claim to be, but those who are can probably attest to this. But when you think about, you know, time, for instance, what the universe conceives as time is not what we conceive as time. And I think that's what some people think, that, you know, they think the law of attraction, they think of manifestation like a vending machine. You put in a coin, you put in your request, and boom, you know, pull the handle. That shows you how old I am, because they don't have handles on vending machines anymore. But you push a button. No, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? It's not how it works. In some cases that I can attest to, some what I call like minute manifestations, you know, when you're driving home from work and it's 6 o'clock and you happen to live in a neighborhood that only has street parking, and you know, you do not feel like parking 3 blocks away from your house on Friday after you've been in traffic. And you're like, you know what, universe, what I need right now is just a parking spot. Let me just get a parking spot. And then you turn on your street and there's a spot right in front of your house. That's that minute manifestation. So yes, it can happen. Or when you're at work and that one particular coworker that you do not like, and you're like, you know what, please don't let me see her today. I don't have it in me. And then you get there and they're like, oh, you know what? She called out sick. Actually, she quit. Oh, you know what? Great. Yeah. Even better. Yeah. Thank you, universe. So, you know, kind of being aware and being tuned in is that, yes, sometimes it does show up right away. But I find the bigger the manifestation, oh yeah, the more work it's going to take from you,
and the more that you practice thoughts that don't really support you having that thing. That's why it's big, you know?
Exactly. You're thinking, you know, so outside your box, or, you know, you're like they say, you know, when you're manifesting like a master, don't manifest based on what you think you can create. Manifest on what you believe that the universe can deliver. And that's when those requests get really big and they start looking like, you know what? Actually, I don't just want, you know, a really great relationship. I want a phenomenal relationship. You know what I mean? I want somebody who is so aligned with me and with source that we literally just float down the street like light beams and inspire other people on the way just by our existence. Like,
oh, so much dust in my room. My eyes sweating. Woo! Speak, girl, speak.
Those kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? When it's like you said, I'm working at Starbucks and I'm making $10 an hour, but my manifestation that I'm working on is to actually own a franchise full of coffee houses across the country where I employ queer folks everywhere, and we serve organic coffee, you know, from the top of mountains, and we're serving the homeless on the weekend. And right now I'm really just learning about the business of how this shit actually works, and that's why I'm here. So it's like we get to decide how we want to interpret our manifestations, how we want to interpret our reality. And some people call it woo-woo and whatever. And I'm like, well, I will woo-woo myself all the way to that mansion in Bluff Park. I will woo-woo myself into a live radio broadcast show. I will woo-woo myself into that phenomenal relationship. And I will woo-woo myself into the bank to cash some checks. So, woo-woo. Okay. So... because the alternative is what? You know, the alternative is, you know, blame and shame and complain, and that's not getting people anywhere. So I think being able to embrace this law, this reality that some call the secret. You know, I was listening to Earl Nightingale because I'm weird like that, and I like to listen to old, you know, people speaking about this stuff that some want to call, oh, that's that new age shit. I'm like, new age? Well, Earl Nightingale is about 100 years ago. So, and then the book you mentioned is the 18th, you know, century Bible. Oh, these are very old concepts that don't seem to be new agey.
But I think because they were like under
and
wraps,
I just think,
and a lot of life worth living was done in secret in our history. So a lot of the material is untouched. You know, it's raw because there is no woo-woo. We you know, we don't have the fluff. You're not adding these names that, you know, that water down what the truth is. It doesn't happen. Now, you know, it gets popular and we water down for a check any day. Go within. But I think the history, like you said, the old books, they're just raw. Like they give it to you straight up. And you really get to create what you want out of it, because it's like, okay, so you got this piece of the puzzle over here. So I'm gonna go over here, get that piece of the puzzle, put it together, make it make sense for me. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Would you share something like maybe a big manifestation that you've experienced in the last, I don't know, 6 months?
Yeah. So you know, Spirit led me on this journey. It's just been a beautiful one. But like the biggest one, what I'm going to say led me to that was the relationships I was having. And this is definitely in the area of love, because I had a few relationships that just like, we dibbled and dabbled in this thought of freedom in relationships and freedom, period. And it never really sunk. It never really stayed. Like I felt good about the idea, but I was never able to really truly experience it. And I feel like even though some might not say it was a manifestation, it was actually the ending of my last relationship. For me, it was a manifestation because Spirit heard my desire for the knowledge of what freedom really is. And I needed to see it. And this is like the example from earlier where, you know, Spirit's bringing you the things that you need that are necessary and not necessarily what you want. It doesn't feel good. This was a lesson that, one of those lessons that hurt. It felt bad. It felt like being unequally yoked and not being able to go anywhere from my, you know, religious people. You stuck in that, you know, misalignment or whatever that is. And because of what you've been taught, you know, it's like, okay, I gotta stay. But as Spirit would have it, freedom kept knocking on my door. And I'm like, yo, but this feels good over here. Doing it this way feels really good. And so as things started to transpire, you know, I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what decision to make. I felt like things were good, and they're, you know, I'm learning things, and then there's these other things that are bad. It's a lot of confusion that happened, but I felt like towards the end of the year, I mean, literally like countdown time. It was like so symbolic, like countdown time, like it all just exploded. And every piece lined up exactly where it should have been. It was literally like, you know, like having like a firecracker with some confetti. And then all the confetti falls down and you see a beautiful piece of art. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you were making? I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I would have let it blow.
Right. You're like, if that's the case, I would have. Where's the lighter? Actually, where is the what is that little, whatever the cannon? Where is put some sticks together to make a flame? Shoot.
I mean, how are we gonna do
rock paper? Crack some rocks together. What do we need for fire? A magnifying glass, some sunshine. What is required?
I'm telling you. And so, like, I literally just like rose like a phoenix. That's literally how it felt the beginning of this year. It's like, okay, wow, I didn't know I didn't know my flight could be like this. Like, I've flown before,
Right.
but like this feels like, you know what I'm saying? Like something that I knew was coming, but I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to paint it. I just kind of like, at some point, and I don't recall what point it was, I did let go.
Yeah.
I had to. But see, there's a choice. I had a choice to do it a lot easier earlier, but I chose to hold on until I couldn't hold anymore.
Right.
So it comes regardless of however you wanna do it. You know, like you said earlier, you really are the author. You're really in charge. You do it. You decide how this is gonna come
Right.
to you. Because spirit don't know good or
No.
bad. You know it. But Spirit's like, okay, well, this was in the box marked good. So I'm
That's not how. No.
I don't know what's in
No.
it, but
And we
know.
only know good or bad based on how we interpret it. And we interpret it as good or bad based on timing. You know how some people will be like, well, damn, if you had taken this like on this day, I would have been ready, so to speak, to let it go. And the universe is like, well, no, it's not. It's not how it works. You said you wanted to be over here, right? Okay, so this is where you're going. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to let go of that. And if I need to pry your fingers off of it, then so be it. It would be easier if you would just, like you said, release and reduce that resistance. Because the reason why I think we have so much resistance is because we, as humans and, you know, spiritual beings having this human experience, human beings are very attachment driven. You know, we become attached to everything. We become attached to material things. We become attached to even our family, our children, our friends, our jobs, our identities, our labels, our homes. We become attached, and the universe is kind of like, okay, why would you be attached to something that's abundant and endless? What do you know? There will be more of that. Is that okay? Well, I mean, that's what y'all doing because you're being humans right now. So learn the lesson. But once you discover that freedom of non-attachment and that freedom of, oh, there's more of this, there's better essentially of this, there's greater than what I've even experienced so far. We don't get there often until we're there and we're looking through the rearview mirror like, oh yeah, this is way better than that was.
Right. Exactly.
This is way better than that was, but we couldn't see it, you know what I mean, from where we are. And that's where I think
that's faith.
That's faith. Exactly.
That is faith. That's exactly that. It's knowing that, I mean, this is going to happen. I know it. I don't see it, but I know, I feel it. I believe it.
Yep.
That's too, because the beliefs, you know, even like, I mean, this is definitely a component of the law of attraction in what you're actually believing. But people feel like your beliefs are almost set.
Yes.
You know, these are my beliefs. This is what I've always believed. This is here.
Right.
This is mine.
Right.
This is mine. Okay. And I'm possessive over these bugs. Right. Cute. If you feel different, don't even try to change my belief. That's a whole nother thing. But just if you feel different than my beliefs, you know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story. But like, you'll hold on to these beliefs not knowing and realizing that they're changeable.
Yes.
You literally have a different thought. You change your story. Like you said, it becomes a part of your story, the things that didn't go well. And it's like, instead of me making that a part of my story and thus creating a belief that doesn't serve what I want and my desire, how about I change my thought first and then repeat that thought? Right. Repeat it. Repeat it and start seeing things show up that create opportunity for you to see. It's like ready to be ready, you know, like you might not see it right away, but I saw a piece and I don't even understand what that piece means, but I know it's a piece.
Exactly.
So let me ride it out. Let me take this piece and keep going.
Exactly.
And not block because I don't understand, you know, or I don't see what I initially am asking for or whatever. It might not come like that.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing is that we don't, like, for instance, I often, whenever I think of like, you know, staying in faith and staying in that space where you've set your intention for what you want, whether it's a big manifestation or a minute manifestation, you've set your expectation and then you let it go. It's like when we were kids at, you know, if you celebrated Christmas or birthdays, then we made a wish list. This is what I want. I want this, 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 and that. Like for me, I remember.
And the faith.
Girl, and the faith that it was going to show up. Girl. I mean, I remember being, I think, I don't know, in high school where I was like, I want some Reebok classics. I want Mary J. Blige, What's the 411 on cassette tape.
You know, okay, what those girls? Bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. Okay.
I want those. I want some cross-colored jeans, and my family was like, "You ain't getting those." But they're
Nice
like,
try.
Nice try." They're like, "We will go to the swap meet, and you will get boss-colored jeans, but you will not."
And you still gonna wear them.
And you still gonna wear them because that's what's happening. Because that's what you need right now. What you need is to be able to go to college in 3 years. So you gonna put them jeans aside. But no,
be source for you. Be some source for you right now. Give you what you need.
Give you what you need. I'm a B source. But we would, we would make a list and we would say, this is what we want. And we did it without limitation. I mean, sometimes the older that we got, and as those messages about limitation started to become more real, we might modify and say, oh, well, I know my mom, is working 2 jobs. She probably can't afford to get me the thing I really want. So I'm not going to even ask for it.
Right.
And what happens is that we take that same type of thinking and we try to communicate with the universe based on human limitation. And the universe is like, no, ask for the big thing and then believe that I'm going to give it to you. Believe, not I as a human, but, believe that it's going to show up.
Yeah.
And I think that allowing ourselves to have that, I might call it very childlike faith, is kind of where we have to begin, depending on how deep in the rabbit hole of, other stuff that you are, and I tell people, like, when you were a kid and you would make these birthday wish lists or Christmas wish lists, were you sitting there trying to figure out exactly how it was going to show up or what kind of wrapping paper it was going to be in? Or did you just let yourself
want that thing
and just let yourself want it?
Yeah.
And experience.
And it's so good knowing that when you see your classmates and everything, December 20th, you already know, like, I know what I'm getting. So you over there talking about Nintendo.
Right.
I got, like whatever. And so you're already in the knowing of receiving.
Right.
So the practice is really good, right? But where things break down at that age, because it all starts with childhood, is when you don't receive what you think you wanted and you believed you should have. You don't receive it. So there's that brokenness. And then, of course, because our parents, they did the best they could, they didn't understand it themselves. So instead of telling you the truth and giving you freedom, they give you more bondage with their explanations and, how were you behaving in school? You didn't deserve it, or whatever. Yes. So I'm going to continue. So the breakdown happens when you get this mixed up explanation and then you start to feel like you're not worthy of what you're asking for. You don't get that lesson until later on in life and maybe not ever. So, yeah.
Thank you. That was amazing. What I know for sure is that I am so blessed to be surrounded by some of the most phenomenal human beings on this planet. And when I tell you guys that these are just regular ass conversations, we talk about other stuff, but when I say that we talk about stuff on multifaceted, multi-leveled, like, our shit goes deep, as you can tell. And this is just my homegirl, and hence the laughter and the giggles and the joke cracking in between. But I know that you guys got some nuggets and some really powerful information through these conversations about manifestation, law of attraction, thoughts becoming things. And all I have to say is that I cannot wait to have Tamera back on again to share a little bit more, because we can go for days, you guys. So thank you, Tamera. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you guys for listening to the second half of this conversation. And I can't wait to give you some more. You have your choice of podcasts that you can listen to, tune into, subscribe to, and share. And I want to take a moment to just express my sincere gratitude for you choosing this one. In this moment right here and now, I see the light, I see the love, I see the wisdom, I see the beauty, the prosperity, and the abundant joy shining within you. And I bow humbly before your divinity. Namaste. Peace, y'all.
podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.